Donald Trump posted a truly bizarre video on his Truth Social account. And it's a cinematic production, we'll say, a campaigny type video that compares him to a lion. That's the metaphor that is made. And I'm going to show it to you, obviously, and we'll discuss what it possibly could mean. But I want to warn you because I care about your well-being. This may cause a medically significant amount of cringe to take place. So you've been warned. But with that being said, take a look.
Look at this lion. He's the king of the jungle. Huge mane out there. He's so big. He's so hot.
He's so hot.
Now, the little lion cubs, they start messing with him. Biting his tail, biting his ears. He doesn't do anything. The lioness, she starts messing with him. Coming over, making trouble. Still, nothing. Now, the other animals, they notice this. And they start to move in. The jackals, hyenas, they're barking at him, laughing at him. They nip his toes and eat the food that's in his domain. They do this, and they get closer and closer and bolder, till one day, that lion gets up and tears the shit out of everybody, runs like the wind, eats everything in his path. Because every once in a while, the lion has to show the jackals who he is.
So bizarre, guys. Truly. I mean, I feel like it's almost an indication that he's deeply, deeply sad and insecure these days. I feel like he has been for a while, but particularly longing for admiration, because even if you watched that and you liked it, why you would post it, because I'm sure he found it, some other person put it together and then he posted it or reposted it on his Truth Social account. Why you would do that knowing that it just comes off so cringy and so egotistical, you know? I don't know. But I guess the only relevant part is it does talk about him running like the wind. Maybe that's him hinting that he's planning on announcing soon. I don't know. Otherwise, it's just quite the kissing of his own booty in a bizarre metaphor to a lion. But I want to attach onto this story a little bit of a fact check of something we went over yesterday on the show about a Trump rally. And that was that we showed a clip of him talking about how all of these former presidents plus Hillary Clinton should be prosecuted. And the context of that was that he was saying all of these individuals had also done the same level of things with their documents from their White House and their administration as Trump has done. And so he's trying to make the point that all these other presidents, plus Hillary Clinton, handled government documents improperly or handled them in some type of way, and that's why I shouldn't be held accountable. Now, it's been fact-checked, and the statements he was making weren't true about, or at least were void of incredibly important context, as well as some lies in there as well. And so he said a bunch of different things. It's a very long clip, but the ending of it where he talks about George H.W., if I'm not mistaken, is the one that we'll fact check first and look at Daniel Dale kind of breaking it all down about why this is incorrect. And it's important that you understand this because you're going to hear people on the right making these types of claims going forward quite often to try to say Trump shouldn't be getting held accountable. So here's the context from what he said about HW, and then we'll discuss.
So she took those phones and she pounded the hell out of them. Meanwhile, George H.W. Bush took millions of documents to a former bowling alley and a former Chinese restaurant where they combined them. So they're in a bowling alley / Chinese restaurant.
So he made similar stories about the other presidents, and then, of course, said, but they're not going to be prosecuted, even though I am being possibly prosecuted. And so, again, what is the context here? What's the important stuff that he left out of the bowling alley Chinese restaurant story? Well, as Daniel Dell wrote on Twitter, this is a dishonest claim. The truth. The National Archives sorted Bush documents from his library in a heavily secured facility, patrols, cameras, sensors, that happened to be a former alley restaurant. As with Obama docs, the archives took to Chicago. Bush didn't take them himself. So what Trump was saying was not true, because he said Bush took all these documents to a former bowling alley Chinese restaurant, whereas the truth is the National Archives went and leased a facility that happened to be next to the two things that he listed there, so that they would have the space to get together all of the documentation. This is the National Archives. This isn't H.W. Bush. And then decide what stuff has to be held on to, what stuff can go to the library that H.W. was putting together, and all those things. Similar protocol with Obama. And so this is the thing that is done a lot on the right, where you tell part of a story or you manipulate a story to make it sound like it's something that's true, or sound like it's a good point to make, when it's absolutely not. Because if Trump had left the White House and the National Archives had taken a bunch of documents to Florida, leased out a facility, got a bunch of patrols around it, cameras, all these things, the National Archives, the people who's supposed to have these documents, is going through and deciding which ones can be sent to Trump's possible presidential library. That's a whole different discussion, and that wouldn't have gotten him in legal trouble. And him pretending like he wasn't aware of that is silly, because we've seen now the time and time again documentation of the requests that were sent to him, making it clear we need this. This is not a request, actually, I should say. We demand that you return these documents, or there will have to be further action taken. And he didn't comply. And so trying to pretend like any president did anything similar is very silly, and good job, Daniel Dell, fact-checking that.